Hylton was born in Clarendon, Jamaica. She is a mother, teacher, singer, music coordinator, youth leader, worship leader, and an experienced radio host. She would always sing songs and listen to gospel growing up. At the age of 9, she gave her life to the Lord. Tamara did well and excelled in school. At the age of 9, she was placed in common entrance class and obtained a place at the Garvin Makio High School. She has her Bachelor's of Science in Human Ecology, a Master's of Science in Management and Educational Leadership from the University of West Indies. Her love for singing propelled her to perform whenever she could. She would do concerts, weddings, special events, church, school, and other places. She has won many awards from different festivals and competitions. She has faced many challenges, but overcame and achieved success. She made her music album, My Story, My Song, A Journey of Grace. She continues to shine bright and make a difference. Her aim as a singer is to minister to the hearts of the people and to motivate them through her music. Let's welcome Tamara Hylton to Pathways to Success.
Welcome to Pathway to Success. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Hunter, and we have the illustrious, very talented and well-achieved Tamara Hylton. As a matter of fact, I was going to wear my Jamaica jersey this evening because she was born in Jamaica and I'm Jamaican also. Tamara, welcome to Pathway to Success.
Good evening, Dr. Hunter. Thank you so very much for having me here. It's indeed a pleasure to be here.
And we're so honored to have you here because I think you're the first Jamaica gospel artist that we have interviewed on this show. And I wanted you to just share a significant memory from your early church rallies. So you started singing.
Yes.
How they influenced your spiritual journey, but also where you really came from in Jamaica also.
All right. So I am from White Marl, Clarendon, and a lot of people do not know White Marl, Clarendon. But one of the things I said when I was younger, when I started teaching, is that this is a place I want to put on the map. Because every time I would tell people I am from White Marl, Clarendon, they would say, isn't that St. Catherine? And even recently when I was in the Jamaica Gospel Star competition, people were like, are you sure it's White Marl? Did you mean to say White Marl, St. Catherine, or White Marl, Clarendon? And yes, indeed, there is a small community, very rural community over there in Clarendon by the name of White Marl. They also call the area Longsville too, but it's really White Marl that I grew up learning to be the name of the community. And so when I was growing up, my mother, who is still a member of the Church of God of Prophecy Church, that is where I would have gotten my early spiritual journey, starting at the White Marl or the Longsville Church of God of Prophecy. And my father's side of the family, like everybody, they are members of the Church of God of Prophecy. And then my mother's side of the family, they are members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So in my mother's side of the family, you have her brother, her niece, nephew, and a lot of them, they are Adventist pastors, and pretty much everybody, they are Seventh-day Adventists. My brother too is also a Seventh-day Adventist pastor. I remember when I was 9 years old, he came to visit us to do his first crusade as an evangelist, and he took me to the area, a little place called Gordonwood. And I was there with him for the couple of weeks he was doing the crusade, and he would take me out when he's visiting people to do Bible studies. And by the end of the crusade, I made up my mind that, hey, I'm going to give my life to the Lord. So at that very tender age of 9, I got baptized, and there was no turning back from then. In terms of my rallies and singing in rallies, so that experience started with my mother going to the Church of God of Prophecy. So I don't know if they still do it, but all the churches in the community at different points throughout the course of the year, they'll be hosting rallies. And this is where you would go and you would be singing, and they would come up and they would fan you with the money, or they would say encore, and they would pay you money to say, we want you to sing again, or they would stop you in the middle of singing and say, don't sing one more word until we get $5,000 or we get $10,000. So, I had that kind of experience growing up, and it somewhat actually influenced my singing and even how I perform as a Seventh-day Adventist singer because I got that experience and that kind of exposure where for me singing was not just because you can sing or you have a beautiful voice, but you should minister to the hearts of the people that you sing to. So when I sing with a lot of passion, lot of conviction, and of course, for me, it is not just singing; it is also ministry.
And that's amazing because what a strong spiritual background you're from, the Church of God of Prophecy, and now and the you're now a member of the, well, former member, because you do not live in Jamaica anymore, of the Burles Hills Seventh Day Adventist Church.
Right.
Now, when you talk about rallies, I'm associated with that,
Yeah.
and some of our producers on the show and my sons here,
Right.
because we also usually sing on the church choir. So they
That's
would
right.
have rallies and they would come up and fan you and they would
Yes.
stop,
Yes.
and you have to pay money to get back the group to sing. And
That's
it is
right.
always fun
Yes.
back there. So I can relate to that as a Jamaican coming from a strong spiritual church
Yes.
background
Yes.
also. But what the Seventh Day Adventists, what I like about them, they can sing they can sing a cappella without music,
That's
and
right. Exactly.
very gifted, great
Yes.
singers. And
Yes.
so, is that where you started singing? Because you said you got baptized at the age of 9. That's pretty young.
So I started singing long before before I became 9 because I became an Adventist when I was 9 and I was going to rallies and singing with my mom with my sister, right? And my mother would allow us to sing and represent the church even before 9 years old. So it started way back. When we used to go to rallies, I remember us singing song like Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. I don't know if people still sing those songs. There was this song to Rainbow. God put a rainbow in my window. And I still remember us singing those songs even before I was 9 years old, going to those rallies back in the days.
I remember those songs, but you have a better
Yes.
memory than me. I don't even remember what certain things that happened at 9. But but what I like about you, you're full of such a great joy. There's an excitement on the inside of
Yes.
you, and skipping a grade and excelling in school is very impressive. It shows, well, you're very brilliant. How did your education shape your future goals to where you're at now?
All right. So for me, coming from a background where I experienced poverty in the sense where I didn't have a lot of resources, right? And sometimes when I look back, I realize that it wasn't so much poverty that I experienced because, my father had so much, still, I mean, there's just so much land and resources and all of those things. But I guess they didn't know how to invest in the estates and so on that they have back then. But my father had like 15 children. My mother had 6. And just imagine you
Wow.
having
Um,
children going to school at the same time, being a few years apart. My sister and I, we're just a year or less apart, right? And so having all of those children going to school at the same time, clearly the resources are going to thin. And it's not going to be enough to have everybody going to school. And so, yes, there were days when I didn't have lunch money, days when I didn't have enough bus fare. Sometimes I didn't have the books and all of those things. But my mother, she always say, get an education. No matter what, get an education. Push forward. So from a very young age, I had that kind of ambition where for me, I saw education being my escape from poverty. And I thought that once I become educated, then I could become anything that I wanted to be in life. And so when I was in grade 3, I was coming first in my class. So my mother moved me from grade 3 and asked them to put me in the common entrance class, which was
wow.
like grade 5. So I never experienced grade 4. I did the common entrance. I passed a Garvey Maceo. Now, going to Garvey Maceo, that was a challenge in itself. As I said, sometimes I didn't have lunch money. Sometimes I didn't have textbook. Sometimes I didn't have bus fare. I remember sometimes just waiting on the side of the road for one of my teachers to pass and ask him for a ride to school. Sometimes I think only God alone saved me because it was right on the bypass outside of Maypen there that I would stop, get off the bus and wait there. And I said, look, I mean, no houses or anything was around there, but I would get off there to try and see if I could, hitch a ride pretty much with one of my teachers to school. When I finished high school, my first stint at doing the CXC examination, I pretty much failed most of my exams. I passed only 3 of my exams in my first sitting, right? And so that was a massive failure for me. And I felt like I wanted to give up at that point. And as a teacher now, I use my experience to encourage my students that you failing CXCs is no indication that you will not make it in life. Because having passed only 3 CXCs in my first sitting, I repeated fifth form and I was able to get enough subjects to move into college. I was able to complete Teachers College as an outstanding teacher, getting awards and all of those things and scholarships every year while I was in Teachers College. I finished my bachelor's with a first class honors. I finished my master's with a distinction. So CXCs is not an indication for me of where you're going or how far you're going to reach in life. Failures are not fatal. And sometimes when you fail, it will be the propeller to push you forward. And you just have to get up, brush yourself off, move on, and try again.
Wow, I love that. Failure is not fatal. What a powerful. I like that. I like that. What you just said. So motivating, so
Yeah,
inspiration.
thank you.
Your story, your rise from well, I would say poverty because your father had 15 kids. Compare,
Yes.
would I say a man who had 15 kids is poor? Um, he's wealthy in children. He's wealthy in land also.
Yes. See
Be fruitful
what
and
he had.
multiply.
What he had, plenty land.
What the Bible says, you know. But I like that. Your guiding philosophy is that education is the only escape from poverty. Can you elaborate a little on this to those who are watching your
Yes.
listening to your inspirational story?
So I actually learned that quote when I was doing human and social biology with my teacher, Miss Maitland, in high school, Garvey Maceo, and we were looking at reproduction. And she said, poverty breeds poverty. And then she said, education is the only escape from poverty. And I made it become my guiding philosophy from that time. Now, as I indicated before, I grew up in a rural community, it's a farming community. A lot of the girls in that community, and even the young men, education is not a route that they would take. So my father was a farmer, my mother was a higgler, and she would take the different produce from the farm to the market and she would sell them. Sometimes my mother would be gone to the market like from a Wednesday or a Thursday and she wouldn't come back home until Saturday night. And I grew up going to the farm, picking the mangoes, picking the limes, picking the plums, the sweet salt, the pear, everything. Packing, waking up 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock, helping my mother to pack the basket, or I would say pack the loads, right? Carrying those things on my head. And from then, Dr. Hunter, I said to myself, there is no shame in your hustle. Good, because I would not talk down on somebody who still does the higgling or still hustle in that manner. And even now, because my father has a lot of property, a lot of fruit trees, my mother still sell the produce from the property, right? And I said to myself, yes, I'm not ashamed of where I'm coming from, but for me to be able to help my family, for me to be able to make something better of my life, then education had to become my route. Is either that or I'm going to end up either I finish high school part way, finish high school, and I don't end up no further than there. I'd find a little man in the community, settle down and have children because that's what a lot of the young ladies from the community they actually do, or that's what they're used to doing. And so I saw that as an escape, getting out of my situation and my circumstances, making better of my life. So education became the vehicle that I use to escape poverty.
I love that. I love that.
It doesn't mean that I'm rich now. I'm not rich now. I'm
You're
rich in
very
the Lord.
wealthy.
But
You're
you
very
know,
wealthy.
my life is way better, clearly, than if I'd chosen to go elsewhere or do otherwise.
What motivated you to pursue a career in teaching and ultimately really earning a diploma and a Bachelor of Science in Human Ecology?
So it's just amazing that you'd ask me that question because, as I said to you before, when I did my first sitting, I didn't pass all my CXCs. Luckily for me, I had age on my side because I was just like 15 years old. I started high
Wow.
school at this current time.
15.
I was
Wow.
15. When I did my first sitting, I was 15 years old. So repeating fifth form was not, I mean, I still had age on my side because I started college when I just turned 18, right? So when I didn't pass all my subjects, my home economics teacher, she came to me and she said, why don't you just study food and nutrition and go and study home ec in college? Now, let me tell you something, Doc, I never like to cook. My sisters, they laugh at me every day and say,
That's
Tamara,
amazing, though.
can't
Tamara, can
believe.
I pause there? That's amazing. I
Yes.
mean, Jamaican women are well known for their culinary skills.
But I am at that now, right? Because I
Okay, that's
studied
good. That's
college,
good.
right? But as a young girl at age 15, you could not give me mackerel and rice to cook. I didn't know how to cook it. Yeah. My sisters, they would laugh at me. And even now, up to this day, they laugh at me and they tell me, oh, Tamara, you had to pay how much money to go and learn how to cook. Because what I would do when my sister and I were living together, I would clean the house. So give me the entire house to clean. I would clean it from top to bottom. Don't send me in the kitchen. I just never like to cook. So so my sister, she would enjoy the cooking. I would do the cleaning. So when I went into high school, I loved fashion, right? So I did clothing and textiles because I just love the whole fashion designing, the whole dressing up and just looking good. So I studied that and I passed it. And my teacher said, do food and nutrition, and that would give you subjects and do the other subjects that you needed and go and study home economics. And that's how I ended up going to Shortwood Teachers College to study home economics. Now, mark you, I also wanted to do mass comm. So I applied to Northern Caribbean University at the time to study mass comm because one of my teachers, she said to me that, Tamara, you have such a beautiful voice. I think you should go and study mass comm. I applied to NCU, and up to this blessed day, I don't get a response from them. And that's how I ended up at
Gotta
Short.
call them. Oh my God. What happened?
I don't know.
You are wow. So, but you did clothing and textile, right? That's what you said, right?
Yes.
In
Yes.
school, you did that. So do you teach that also along with
That's what I teach. I teach home economics and I teach all three subject areas. I teach food, nutrition, and health. I teach clothing, textiles, and fashion, and I teach family and resource management. I'm actually one of the top markers for family and resource management for CXC, right?
Congratulations.
Yes. So every year when I mark, I'm usually one of the, well, maybe just one of the few teachers who be marking over 1,000 papers and more. So yes, I'm one of their top markers. I just do so much work and so many different things in terms of CXC, CVQ, and in the tech book area. So yes, it's really my area. So as I said, for me, when it comes on to singing, it's really a passion. But I am an educator at heart. Yes.
Wow. We're going to take a short. We're enjoying this with Tamara Hylton this interview. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back with the illustrious Tamara Hylton.
Thank you.
Tamara Hylton.
So this week, Jamaica, I will not just be singing a song, but I will be telling a story. In the valley, he restores my soul. Yes, you know my story. You know what I've been through, and I know that you have been through it too. And I know you need that strength, that courage to carry on. So I want for you to sing with me. I want for you to support me as I sing the song, In the Valley, he restoreth my soul.
She's been tested and tried, but her soul has been restored. Give it up for Tamara Hylton.
He's on my knees, yeah. He's on my knees, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's on my knees, yeah, yeah. He's on my knees, yeah, yeah, yeah. When I'm low in spirit, I cry, Lord, lift me up. I want to go higher in thee. For the Lord no. So he picked out a valley for me. Whoa, 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 yeah. Jesus leads me beside still waters. Yeah, it was somewhere in the valley below. Yeah, while he drew me aside to be tested and tried in the valley, he restored my soul. Watch me now, hey! I'm set down in the valley, so lonely and cold. My body's shaking to my bones. My Savior said he'd dry the tears from my eyes. He tell me, say, all I need he will supply. Saw my needs, yeah. He saw my needs, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ooh, Tamara, I'm so happy that I wore my dancing shoes tonight. Come with me as we get ready to hear from our judges. Stand right here for me, Tamara. Thank you so much. Starting with Nadine.
Hello, Tamara.
Hello, Auntie Nadine.
You came out, first of all, you look fabulous.
Thank you so much.
He saw your need for truth.
Absolutely.
I love your conviction.
Thank you.
I loved your tone. There was a little shakiness somewhere in the middle there, but your conviction sold it for me.
Thank you very much. Thank
All
you.
right, John Mark.
I feel like you are much more prepared than last week,
Absolutely.
and I appreciate that you came out with confidence. I
Yes.
felt that the energy was great, and I
Yes.
appreciate that.
Thank
Yeah.
you so very much.
Thank you so very much,
Thank
judges. Now, if you see the need for Tamara to be the next Jamaica gospel star, then text the word VOTE to 876-444-8802.
Welcome back to Pathway to Success. Of course, I'm your host, Dr. Michael Hunter, with Tamara, like that name Hylton. You know, I was wondering if she's part of the Hylton group of hotels franchises across the world. Then she could donate something to the to the orphanages in Jamaica and elsewhere. But Tamara, we enjoyed that video of you performing on performing on the gospel gospel festival.
It says Jamaica Gospel Star. So it previously was Jamaica Gospel Song Competition, but they have rebranded to Jamaica Gospel Star Competition. Yes.
What was that like? Because but before that, share a memorable moment from your music ministry that touched your heart. Before we go to that question.
Oh wow, it's just so many of them. But I think a memorable one that I really have was when I sang at my grandmother's funeral. And I think that's when most of my family members actually knew that I could sing. I did this song, I bowed on my knees and cried holy. And even up to this day, I have people telling me, Tamara, if I should pass away, or if you're coming to one of my family members' funeral, that's the song I want for you to sing. And so my family members became aware of my ability to sing, or my gift of singing. That's my extended family members. That is when my grandmother died. So that was a memorable one. And for me, just going out, sharing my music ministry. I also used to sing on the bus when I was younger, right? My brother was an evangelist and he would let me sing on the bus, and I would just go to the front of the bus and I would sing my heart out. I'll be singing choruses, I'll be singing hymns and so on. So those are really just memorable moments that I've had with my music ministry.
Wow, it's amazing singing on the bus. Oh my God, Tamara, you've been a star from ever since. God has really placed a great grace and gift upon you.
Yes.
Winning medals, winning awards and medals in music festival is always a great accomplishment.
Yes.
Can you tell us about one of your proudest achievements in music so far?
Right. All right, so you did ask me to share about my experience in the Jamaica Gospel Star. So this experience for me is probably one of the greatest wins for me. And as I said earlier, before we came on, that even though I did not come first, it was a big win for me, everybody. And sometimes in life, you think that, hey, I am not coming out on top, it doesn't mean that you are winning. You're not winning. Winning does not mean that you have to be first. And if you take nothing away from it this evening, just remember that God will open doors for you. You may not be the first person to go through the door, but it doesn't mean that you have not won entering into that room. And so for me, having being placed in the top 10 finalists of the Jamaica Gospel Star competition, I think that's probably the highest level in terms of gospel music in Jamaica. That was a big win for me. I actually did the competition before when it was the original song competition way back in the days, maybe about 12 years ago when I was pregnant with my son, but I only made it to the semifinals. I didn't make it to the top 10 finalists, right? And it was an original piece that was written by George Gordon. I still have it because it actually spoke to my experience. I need to find the word somewhere so I can probably sing it again, but it was just a beautiful song speaking about the pain that I was going through and how God just gave me sunshine after my rain. So with those experiences, those were big wins. So I've been always entering competitions. I don't know why, because I just always seek opportunities to just show my talent and utilize the gift that God has blessed me with. So outside of the Jamaica Gospel Star, in 2020, I entered the gospel. I don't remember the name of it, but it was an award coming out of Atlanta for music minister, and persons had to vote for me. It was during the pandemic, and let me tell you something. People voted, and they brought me right to the top. So I actually won that award, music minister. I don't remember exactly the name of the award, but it's music minister for Gospel Choice Award. I think it's Gospel Choice Award, music minister, and it was an award coming out of Atlanta, US. In addition to that, when I was teaching in Jamaica, I would enter the JCDC music competition at the parish level, and I would win like gold medals. I would win bronze, and I remember one of the time I entered maybe about 4 or so songs, and I got 3 gold medals out of those songs. But the judges was like, Tamara, you came up here and all the songs that you did, you sang them in the same key, and you sounded the same way for all the songs. And so from that time, I said, how can I be a little bit more dynamic in my singing? So I would go out and I would tell people that, listen, I'm an alto singer. So I want all my songs to be in this key. When I entered this competition the other day, and I have to say a big shout out to JCDC, the producers, the musicians, my coach, Miss Alicia Taylor. I'm sure you know Miss Alicia Taylor.
Right.
She's a gospel artist in Jamaica. Miss McCurdy, who's a production manager. Ron Mattison, who was producing the music for us. You know, they said to me, Tamara, you're not an alto singer. You are a singer. You can go to any range and you can sing any song that you want to sing. So if persons were following the competition, and when you listen to the first song that I did, I was singing in my comfortable range. The second week, that song that you just saw, I went out of my range, and you would not believe that Sunday I was so sick. I was so sick. I was so sick. I didn't even think I could go on stage and perform that Sunday. And so just being in that competition gave me an opportunity to explore rather different range in terms of my singing. And just, I've always been a dynamic singer, I believe, but just to be able to just move from my F key or whatever it is and sing something different, sing at a different key, that was a big win for me also. Not only that, I also did different genres of music. So everybody's used to be singing the nice hymns and the nice gospel music and you know, the Adventist kind of singing, right? In that competition, I was able to, you know, develop my DJ skills because I didn't even know that I could
You
DJ.
did great.
I didn't know I could DJ. So you know, so it was a big win for me. A big, absolutely big win for me.
Congratulations. I'm so proud, extremely proud of you. And
Thank you.
I watched the video. It's my second time watching the video. And when they start DJing, say, yeah, yeah. And I'll start move. Such a beautiful voice, and the
Yes.
delivery was so clear and so well done. And I just
Thank
want to
you.
celebrate you. And you're just winning all the way. But what inspired you to organize the my song, my testimony ministry, and gospel concerts in your community?
All right. So there's something that we haven't even spoken about, and I don't think
Right?
you're going to ask me about that experience.
Tell
But
me.
in 2009, I got married.
Yes.
And when I got married, pretty early into the marriage, I started experiencing abuse. And the marriage never lasted. It unfortunately, but God blessed me with my son from that marriage, and I thank God for him every day because he's my blessing. I am not at a place of bitterness and hurt. I mean, still residual hurt and so on, but my son became my blessing. And I remember at the time when I was with my son, it was just me and my son. We were going to church. And one day I sat in the church and God said to me, Tamara, your testimony is your song. There are so many hurting people out there who need to hear your testimony, and they need to not just hear your testimony, but you need to use this gift of singing that I've given you to bring hope. And and I said to myself, God, what do you want me to do? I'm just feeling a little bit emotional right now because I know that even listening to me right now, there are just so many people out there who are hurting, doctor, and they're just seeking to find a way out. And they don't see a way out. I mean, thank God God saved me and He rescued me before I lost my life, right? And He said, Tamara, use the songs that you have been singing to sing, to minister. And he said, I don't want you to do it alone. There are some young people in the church who will benefit from singing and moving around Jamaica and singing with you. Call them together and form a group with them. And I remember I spoke to one young lady, Ashadane, I think her name was, yeah? And when I spoke to her, she told me about some other young people who would be interested in singing. And we started singing. And I think that group grew to about 12 of us. And we were moving, singing around Portland, different churches in Portland, St. Mary. At one point, we were in Clarendon. We went to my home church, and we were just singing. And it wasn't only singing, but it was testimony and drama that we were using to just share the love of Christ and to bring hope. And that was what influenced me. I was at a very low place in my life at the time. I was left as a single mother. I was struggling, just taking care of my son, just trying to recover from the hurt and the pain and the abuse and everything that I would have experienced. And God said, Tamara, instead of focusing on your pain and your hurt, I have given you a tool that you can use to help others and to help them see that there is a light at the end of the dark tunnel.
Oh, I like that. I like that. But then transitioning to teaching in the Turks and Caicos Island, how did you integrate your musical talents into this new community?
So coming into Turks and Caicos, I so it really started for me when I left home and I moved to Portland. I didn't go to Portland and just sit down and fold my hands. I became engaged in church and church activities. Coming into Portland, into Turks and Caicos, it was pretty much the same for me. I came here not just to take from what this country has to offer, but also to give of myself unreservedly. So I came at school, I would do devotions. I started singing in devotions. And this was even before I did my recording. So, of course, people didn't know of me as a recording artist coming into Turks and Caicos. I came here as just a teacher. But we do general devotions at school. I would sing at school. If they're hosting a concert, I would be singing. I also started a little choir with some of the students that was there. And I remember there was a fire and we hosted a very great event, an evening of excellence where all the students were performing who were members of the choir. And that was just something to talk about. And so for me, it's just coming with that willingness to serve and to also give back to my community. I also came here and I transferred my membership. and I joined the Antioch Seventh-day Adventist Church. And there I also gave back in terms of my time, my talent, and my resources. So I gave back in being music minister, being a part of the praise team, also leading the youth, being a part of the Pathfinder Club, which also is another youth program, and really just being engaged in the services of the church. Because for me, that's not just me giving of myself, but that's also a part of worship and serving the Lord.
Good. Your debut gospel album, My Story, My Song, A Journey of Grace, is deeply a personal one. And
Yes.
could you tell us the themes and the significance of this?
Grace, grace, God's grace. Had it not been for grace, where would I be? I know it is God's unmerited favor why I am sitting here, why I'm not buried in my grave. And every time I talk about these experiences, I tend to get emotional because I know that God has been so good to me. And it's not because of anything good that I have done, it's not because I got a degree or whatever it may be. It's because God loves me and He sees purpose in me. And so I've always wanted to record music. So even when I was in Jamaica, I was trying to record and it just didn't happen. When I came here also, I tried to record. It just didn't happen either. I spoke to persons locally. I spoke to persons who were in Jamaica. Even while I'm here, it just didn't happen. And so I usually buy my soundtracks from Daywind Studio out of Nashville, Tennessee. And when I bought a set of CDs, I noticed that they had a promotional card in it to say that you could record with us and use our tracks to record. I called them up and I said, and that's how I went and did my recording with them. But the theme resonating through that album and the songs that I selected, they would speak to my experience, Dr. Hunter, and what I would have been through. So there's a song that speaks that I'm no longer a slave to fear. And it says, from my mother's womb, you have chosen me. And that song resonated so much with me because I think I was living my life in fear. Because even though I would have been experienced all of that, there was still a part of me that doubted myself. I still didn't believe in me. I still didn't believe that Tamara, you were good enough. And after being through abuse, my self-esteem was totally eradicated. I felt worthless. I felt like nothing. And so, God said, Tamara, why are you worried about what people may think about you? Why are you worried about what people may say to you? When they say this or they say that, just tell them, I don't care what you say. I am a child of God. And that's where that song actually came from. And then the other songs that speak to grace, songs like Sinners Saved by Grace. If you could see what I was and where I'm coming from, it's not because of anything that I have done why I am here. I'm just a plain old sinner that has been saved by grace. And there's a song that we used to sing at Raleigh, I am coming up on the rough side of the mountain and I'm just doing my best so that I can make it in. So yes, we're all sinners and we're all in need of God's grace. And because those songs spoke so closely and they resonated so much with me, those were the songs that I selected to do. He Will Carry You. When I felt like I couldn't make it, when I felt like I couldn't go on, God reminded me that if He carried the weight of the world, all the sin of the world upon His shoulder, how much more would He be able to carry me? I don't even think I'm weighing 200 pounds right now, right? He would be able to carry me. And the other songs really just speaks to His grace. And so it's against that background that I selected the theme, My Story, My Song, A Journey of Grace, because that's what my life has been. Because every time I think the devil would have tried to knock me down, knock me out. So as a child growing up, he used poverty. I could have used that as an excuse not to get anywhere in life, but I fought against the odds and I
Yeah.
made it. I mean, he used domestic violence. I could have used that as an excuse, but instead I said, no, I am not going to allow it to keep me down. And so God's grace his unmerited favor, it kept me. And I believe that is what will continue to keep me as I journey on in this life.
I can just see your book out. I'm sure that you plan to write your book of this amazing story, this inspirational story, and this great meteoric rise to fame, and being such a great motivational speaker and a great educator. You have truly inspired us today on Pathway to Success. I'm so proud to hear my fellow Jamaican. What you have shared today has really, really inspired me. And you are really a true testament of
Thank you.
success. And you have inspired so many of us today watching Pathway to Success, because there are many persons that don't let, and you said something which is very key. You could have let poverty could have been you could have been enslaved to poverty, but you
Yeah.
refused that.
Mhm.
Domestic violence, you could have been enslaved to that, but you refused that. But you keep
Yes.
your eyes on the prize, and you are determined to
Yes.
step out and rise to the top. And today
Yes.
I celebrate and I salute you. Congratulations, Tamara Hylton.
Thank
You
you.
you put a you put a smile on my face, and not only that, I'm so proud um, to, 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 to know that you're my fellow Jamaican. We always try to excel wherever we go, no matter what what the circumstance may be. We always come with a winning attitude to
Yes.
recognize that
Absolutely.
we will persevere, we will
Mhm.
overcome every
Yes.
day. They say we will overcome someday, but we overcome every
Yes.
day. That's a
Every day.
mentality.
Absolutely.
We
Yes.
wherever we go, we go with this mentality. We didn't come to count cows, but we come to drink milk.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
that
Yes.
that that's what make us so resolute. That's what make us so strong. That's
Yes.
what make us winners,
Yes.
because of what
Absolutely.
was ingrained in us from our childhood, from our parents, and in church. That has
Yes.
for us to rise to the top today.
Mhm. Mhm.
Finally, how old is your son?
My son is 11 years old.
It's good. Does
Will
he
turn
sing?
12 this year.
Mom, does he has an interest in singing? Um,
Does he actually has a beautiful singing voice, but he doesn't like to sing. I think he got it from me. Every now and again, I let him sing at church. Yes, and then he said, "Mommy, I don't like to sing," but he will do it. And yesterday, he actually entered a Bible connection quiz competition, and he was placed third. So
that's
yes,
good.
so he's very active in church also.
Tell him
So yeah.
congratulations, and I'm really looking forward to it. Tell us a little about the Turks, because I've been invited so many times. I'm looking forward to come there. What is the Turks Island like? For me, I'll be a visitor for the first time. What to expect from the people, from the
All right. So I remember I was preparing for some students for a competition, and I wrote a song, and it goes like this. Come to Turks and Caicos, bask in the turquoise water, eat our food, comfort us, delicious groupers, learn our dancing, the whining, shati. And unfortunately, the school had a fire, the students didn't get to go and sing that song. But Turks and Caicos is a beautiful island. For me, this is my second home to Jamaica. And having lived in Portland, when I moved to Turks and Caicos, I felt like I moved home also. The turquoise water, the white sand, the people, they're just so pleasant, just really courteous, soft spoken too. They're not they're not as aggressive as Jamaicans. So from the people here in Turks and Caicos, right? It's natural, pristine beauty. That's what I would call it. Things, just being able to see the sunset, to see the sunrise, to see the moon. Last night we were watching the moon rising over the horizon, and it was just something to behold. If you are looking for somewhere where you can rest and relax and rejuvenate, then definitely Turks and Caicos is a place that you want to come to.
I'm going to take your advice because
And listen, you're gonna let my Jamaican people stone me right now. But guess what? Everybody in Turks wants to go to Jamaica, so they all know what Jamaica offers, and our Jamaican people knows what Jamaica offers. So we know Jamaica. We have things sort out. A lot of people don't know about Turks and Caicos, so don't stone me now. I've not turned my back on Jamaica. Jamaica is still my home.
well, I've not been back to Jamaica in many years. I could never do. I'd be a hypocrite if I tried. Many years I've not been back to Jamaica, so
Yes,
I've moved forward. But
right,
the Turks Island has always been a place in my spirit from I was a kid in high school because
right.
while in high school, then my brother went to Michael Teachers College. He has some friends
Yes,
who,
yes,
the
yes.
Coxes. They're very famous
Oh
there.
yes, yes. I know
Yes.
the
We
cocktails. Yes,
went to Michael College, Teachers College, and
right.
so we developed a great friendship, and I've always had a love for
Yes, yes.
the
And it's a collection of islands, so you can do island hopping. I've been to pretty much all the islands already. I think I just need to go to some of the keys now, but I've been to all the major islands. Yeah,
and you would say it's good for me to just come there and live right
it's
there by the
trust me,
ocean. And
just
I love that
beautiful.
song that you write. You're so creative. You got to
It's
write a song.
laid back. It's very relaxing, right? You're not gonna find, like a lot of crowd and all of those things as you would find like if you're going the street in Jamaica, right? So for me, if you want to lead that quiet life, which is what
Yeah.
I really enjoy, then definitely this is the place to be.
Well, look, I got to have you write a song for Pathway to Success. I'm looking forward to come to the Turks, and I'm going to definitely ask Minister Faith Forbes.
Yeah,
Maybe
yes.
when I arrive, the immigration director of immigration is a very close friend of mine. We speak so often.
Right, right,
But when I
right.
arrive there, I'll be able to see Tamara singing for me. Welcome to.
That's right. Once you come here, we probably need to do a concert once you're coming here.
Yes,
Yes,
that is the
yes.
plan.
Mhm.
And that, I'm happy that you're on that because that's one of the plans Miss Minister Faith Forbes have. She would like
Yes.
to do a concert. So I'd really love to come and hear you sing, dance, and
Absolutely.
the others too. And
And we have some really talented people in Turks and Caicos,
I
like
think
some of the best
Everton, you went
musicians I
to
know.
Yui.
I've met
So
them here.
Everton
Yes,
will come and sing and DJ also. That would be great. And
yes,
to see him dance. Paul also. We have some Jamaicans in the studio. Jody and
yes,
yeah, so many Jamaicans in the studio.
yes,
Well,
right. I just want
there's
to
so
shout
many
out to Miss
Jamaicans.
Dr. Hunt and really
Yeah.
thank her for making this connection for me. It's really just a very humbling experience, and I appreciate it very much.
Well, I thank her so much because this, I think, is the best interview we've had.
Oh, no.
You don't understand. You're unique. You are so gifted, so talented, and you're so inspirational. And motivational speaking is one
Thank
of the
you.
big ways I would tell you to start marketing yourself.
Yes.
And your books is going to sell. I'm telling you, your albums is going to sell. I'd love to get a copy of your CD also. And they're planning for our trip because they've invited Pathway to Success
Yes,
on the
yes.
island. It was the premiere and invited us when we
Great.
interviewed the premiere. So they want us to
Wow.
come there. So I'm looking forward for
Oh,
great catawampas. In Jamaica, we say
yes.
catawampas.
Catawampos or
That's
catawampos.
what I was saying. Time
Yes,
when I get there. And when
yes.
you live a busy lifestyle like America,
Hmm.
sometimes you want to get away to
You
peace
need
and
it.
tranquility and get away from
My
the
friends
crowds and all
laugh
that.
at me because when I go to Jamaica, I am hurrying to come back to Turks and
Of
Caicos. So they're
course,
like, why you're coming back to Turks? I say, I can't take the busyness. I can't take the long lines. I can't take the hours of driving. I can't take it no more. I've been living here for 10 years. I'm just really have gotten used to, okay, I'm going to work. I'm less than 5 minutes away from work. I've gotten used to it. So yes.
so like you live in Turks Island right there now. It's more what is Christmas like? Because Jamaica's Christmas, there's a vibes, caroling. Do you do caroling there? Do you
So I've never experienced the caroling, but I spent last Christmas here. So guess what? There's a gentleman down the road who raised goat, and I
wow,
got a goat, and I made
really
my
for
own with
free?
goat.
I gotta come over there. So you're gonna talk to
I do my
that
curry goat, and I clean my tripe and all of them things there, and roast my goat head. I made my manish water last year Christmas while I was here. I invited a few friends over, baked my Christmas cake. They have they would like block off like a section of the street and do like a market, and then you have a lot of things happening around when it's Christmas. A lot of things happening. It was really festive, right? And I think that was kind of like my first Christmas that I was spending here. I probably spent another Christmas before, but I was just a little bit, relaxed at home. But I celebrated, put up my Christmas tree and everything. So as I tell you, it's what you make it. It's really what you make it.
So you're saying we should come for Christmas?
You can, you should. If you're coming, let me know from early so I can order the goat.
But tomorrow, of course, are you going to cook for me? I love my Jamaican rum cake. Right.
I'll make the rum cake for you.
I can sing. I think I can sing. Is it soprano? We're gonna get us do a singing.
Yeah, we can go to caroling. Because I remember doing that as a child growing up when I was a part of the Church of God of Prophecy Church.
Yes.
We would go out and we would sing on this. Well, we'd go and do this the mornings in the church, and then on Christmas morning, then we would go out in the community and we would sing. Yes, I've had that experience before. Yes.
And I'd like to invite you to West Palm Beach also to come and sing for us.
Thank you. Definitely, we'll make the connections and we'll put the plans in place.
And I'm so proud of you. 10 years. Do you plan to? I think you should live there for the rest of your life.
It's home.
I don't see any gray hairs on you, so it's stress-free.
Yes, I mean, I don't know what God has in store for me, but for now, it's home. It is home for now. And this was where my son pretty much grew up because he came here when he was 2+. So he doesn't know much about living in Jamaica.
That's
right?
Good.
So, yes.
That's good for him. That's very good for him. I have a son that's 13. That's very good for him too. Yeah. He lives right here. He was born here, so he has only been there. I think he went there when he was about 5 or something like that. But he has not gotten much of an opportunity to go. He has not been back.
Right.
But I want to thank you for just carrying us through your journey. On pathway to success, and it's an inspirational, motivating one. One of wow, I celebrate you today, and keep
you so much.
Keep on shining. You're a great shining star that has impacted so many lives. And for just in this interview, you have brought such joy to us here in our studio today on Pathway to Success.
Thank you.
Before you leave. Could you do a cappella again? I like that little a cappella before you leave. Song. What song would you do for me before you leave? A cappella style.
When I'm low in spirit, I cry, Lord, lift me up. I want to go higher in thee. The Lord knows I can't live on the mountain. So he picked out a valley for me. Oh, yeah. Jesus leads me beside still waters. Yeah. It was somewhere in the valley below. Yeah. Well, he drew me aside to be tested and tried in the valley. He restored my soul. Watch me now. Hey, I'm standing at a valley so lonely and cold. My body is shaking to my bones. My Savior said he'll dry the tears from my eyes. He tell me, say, all I need, he will supply some my needs, yeah. He saw my needs, yeah. yeah, yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. What a beautiful voice.
Thank you,
What a
Pastor. Thank you.
What a grace. You got to promise me that the Jamaican is a promise to comfort your fool, but we're going to make a covenant
The
that
fools make promise, and I'm not a fool.
So you're gonna cook for us when we get there,
Yes.
of course, and also you're gonna get a concert together. It's amazing because we
Absolutely.
have a record label, Hunter's Nation.
And listen, Doc, Turks have really good food. The grits and the sauce and all of those things, it's great. So make sure that when you come, so it's not just Jamaican food you're gonna eat when you come here, you're gonna eat all the Turks food also.
Well, that's why I'm gonna let you cook because you see, I'm safe with you. I know that you can cook every little thing, and I'm fine. Then when I get more acclimatized now, I can have someone from Turks cook for me. I'll
get the great cooks from here also.
Thank you so much again, Tamara Hamilton. Great having you on Pathway to
Thank you so much, Dr. Hunter.
Thank you for sharing your success story. Have a great week.
Thank you so much for having me, and God bless you and your team. Thank you so much again. All right. God bless. Yes.